trainedadvisor.com.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? So in this training, we're going to cover what a funnel is. One of the questions that I get asked a lot is, okay, do I need a landing page? Do I need emails? Do I need a webinar? But there's this little thing called a funnel. Is that the thing that's the secret to my business taking off? So one of the things that I want to emphasize is that funnels are just a concept. Now, the marketing industry is a very territorial industry. So you've got to be really careful when you hear those buzzwords like funnels and sales funnels and marketing funnels, VSLs, auto webinars, whatever it might be. Funnels are one of those terms that it's just going to get thrown around. So you got to be careful in terms of what that funnel actually is and what it's going to help you accomplish. Now, another thing that we've got to be really careful of in this process is something called shiny object syndrome. And I guarantee you have heard of this before. Now, shiny object syndrome is when you heard that something worked for somebody else. It helped so-and-so land a client. They got a whale of a client coming through, or they landed a ton of business owners because they did X or Y or Z. And because of that, you start thinking, okay, do I need that thing? Can I go ahead and go get that calculator? Can I go ahead and go get that checklist? Or hey, let me go buy into this program because they're gonna get me X or Y or Z. So in order to get rid of shiny object syndrome and make sure that you're not purchasing something just because it sounds cool, we need to take a step back and think through what are we trying to accomplish. Instead of just going and getting that object, then reverse engineering how we can fit that into our business model, take a step back and think from a strategic standpoint, what are you trying to accomplish? Now, when it comes to funnels, what happened was several years ago, there was a gentleman by the name of Russell Brunson, still active today, awesome guy, absolutely love following this guy, marketing genius. But what happened was he started popularizing the concept of funnels. Now, because his end product, what he was trying to get his users to purchase was landing page software, a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs started to associate funnels with landing pages. So I want to take a step back and talk about marketing from more from a strategic standpoint and talk about it from, okay, hey, what are the different steps to make marketing successful? So I don't care what your business is. I don't care what your products are. I don't care what your services are. I don't care who your ideal client is, your target market. There are 3 steps to making any marketing campaign successful. You need to attract the right prospects consistently. You need to be able to nurture those prospects consistently, and then you need to be able to convert those prospects. Now, as boring as that sounds, attract, nurture, and convert, every single successful marketing campaign can be boiled down to these 3 steps. So first off, attract. This is where you start hearing about those traffic sources. That's where you hear about Facebook ads, or you hear about Google ads, or LinkedIn, or TikTok, or Twitter, or whatever it might be. Attract is all about being able to get the right people to come to you. Again, you don't want to be chasing, you're trying to get those right people to you. Now, once that happens, you want to be able to nurture them consistently. One of the things that I see a lot with business owners is they start talking about, hey, I started running Facebook ads and I had 300 people click on my ad, but nobody became a client. Or I was running Google ads and I had 40 people land on my website, but nobody became a client. Now, in that scenario, we're going from something like clicks to conversions, right? And that's what we all want. We all want those clients. But in the process, we cannot skip the nurture phase. A lot of the individuals that will come to you, a vast percentage of them will not be ready to buy right when they see your product or your service or your message the first time. So that nurturing becomes extremely important. We're going to dive into what that looks like. Now, the last phase here is convert. So convert can come into a couple of different forms. So the first conversion is converting that person from a prospect into a lead, or whatever you want to categorize them in, is going from cold traffic or warm traffic to somebody who's actually booking an appointment or a strategy session with you. Then the next conversion phase comes from being that lead or that warm, hot prospect, whatever it is, into a paying client. So if we can take a step back and say, okay, I'm going to try to attract, nurture, and convert people. Now, how am I going to go about doing that? So now the next thing we want to talk about is going back to that funnel. Okay, so we're going to scroll down a little bit and just a little backstory. So when my wife and I first got married, literally from the day that we moved into our first apartment together up until now, one of the things that we have loved doing is going and looking at model homes. Now, it doesn't matter if we're actually actively in the process of looking to buy a house or we just heard there's a new development going down the street that we want to go check it out. We love looking at model homes, but it clicked for me one day that model homes, a good model home setup, is a great analogy for how sales funnels are designed to operate. So let's say I'm going to go look at model homes. And there are 3 model homes that I just think are absolutely beautiful. I'm going to go look and see what's inside of them. In the typical model home setup, can I just go and start walking into whatever house I want whenever I want? Can I go start inside of house number 3? Maybe I can come around to the back door, or maybe model home number 2 looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to walk inside of that one and skip around. The answer is no. So typically the way that it's set up is you have a fence or a gate around these model homes. And then in order to get access to these model homes, you have to walk through the front office to get there. I'm going to put O right here so we know it's the front office. So I have to go through the front office in order to get access to the thing that I want, which are these model homes. Now, why would real estate agents, why would realtors set it up that way? What's the purpose of setting it up like this and not just saying, hey, public, it's a free-for-all. Come in and come take a look at the houses. Because they know that statistically, the majority of the people who come in to take a look at model homes are not ready to buy a house in the near future, right? They're not actively in the buying process. It doesn't mean that they're not going to buy someday or they're not going to buy down the road. They're just not actively in the process of purchasing a home. So when you walk into that front office, what happens? Well, you're going to have somebody that is like, hey, how are you doing? Can I grab your email address so we can send you some more information on these houses? I'm walking in, this person's smiling, they look friendly. I'm going to go ahead and give them my email address because I want access to those houses. Now, they might also grab your phone number. Why? Why are they getting email and phone number? Because they know that even if I'm not ready to buy a house in that moment, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to buy a house. So if they grab my email address and my phone number, they can actively follow up with me so that when I'm ready to purchase a home, I don't have to guess who to turn to in order to buy that home. I know exactly who I'm going to go to. Right now inside of my email inbox, I've got emails from TriPoint Homes. I've got them from Toll Brothers. There's a number of different home builders that I'm constantly getting emails from, even though I'm not actively in the process of buying a house right now. But I know that as soon as it's time to buy a home, what am I going to do? Well, I just named 2 builders off the top of my head, not because I bought a home from them, but because I've received so many email notifications from them, or so many emails from them, that I know that when it's time to buy a house, that's a good place to start, right? Same thing that goes for your business. Now, going back to the funnel concept, we're going to work a little bit backwards in this, okay? So we already talked about nurturing. We already talked about we want to be grabbing things like email addresses, phone numbers, but how do we do that? How do we entice and encourage our prospects to give us their contact information? Going back to the model home analogy, the thing that really encouraged me or enticed me to give up my contact information, which in today's world, you get a little bit wary of giving that out, is I wanted to give my contact information in exchange for something that I wanted, something that I perceived as valuable enough to give my contact information for. So what I like to do with my agents, my advisors, the clients that I'm actively working with, is I want to make sure that, number one, I have a gate set up. So in order for somebody to get access to something that they want, they have to give me, or they have to give our advisors and our agents, their contact information in order to get what they want. In today's world, one of the things that is extremely valuable for us, that converts extremely well, is to be offering I'm going to scroll up a little bit, a book. So this first offer might be something like a book, where we're not just going to use any book. We're not just going to say, hey, Harry Potter's a great book, so hey, do you want Harry Potter? Just give me your contact information. No, this book, whatever we're giving away initially, has to set you up as the subject matter expert so that it can start that nurturing, that indoctrination process, so that they see you as the person that can help solve their pain points, whatever that might be, whatever your business services are, whatever those solutions are that you provide. This initial offer, I'm going to put offer underneath so that you can start thinking what that offer might be for your business. Now, The offer can be a number of different things. It can be a checklist, a PDF, it can be a video, a webinar, it can be something physical like a book. Whatever it is, you have to think about your target audience and what they're gonna find valuable that is also going to set you up as the subject matter expert that they need to turn to. Now, from there, do we just wanna leave it alone? Do we just wanna say, hey, I gave them a book or I gave them an offer for a book and man, they took it, but they didn't become a paying client? No, because remember, if we're going back up to what we talked about originally, 3 steps to making this work. You gotta attract, then you gotta nurture, then you convert, okay? So in this process, number 1, we're attracting them with this first value-based offer. Now, after that happens, we're making sure that when they come through our office, our front door, which is typically gonna be a landing page of some sort that says, hey, if you want X, you gotta put in your name and your email address, right? That's the basic. Name and email address. We may be able to gather phone number. If we're offering something like a physical book, we may be able to get their physical address as well because we're shipping that out to them, right? So we're getting email, phone number, name, physical address, as much as we can so that in the process, we can begin that nurturing phase. Now, after they've taken advantage of offer number 1, if they have not converted, that's when we can go to offer number 2. Let's say that offer number 2 here is a VSL, a video sales letter. It's something that is, again, going to provide information, going to provide valuable information, set you up as the subject matter expert, and then give them the ability to book a strategy session, a discovery call. That's one of the things that we want to touch on is every time we give somebody an offer, every time we give somebody something of value, we never want them to guess what the next step is that they can take. Whether you're selling something physical or you want to actually, bang their credit card in that moment, or you're offering a discovery call, a strategy session, depending on what it is that you're offering, that's what you got to take a look at is what is that thing that you can provide them? What is that next step that they can take in order to convert them from a lead or a prospect into a lead or somebody who is warm traffic into hot traffic, right? Always be ascending them. You never want to leave your prospects stagnant. You always want to provide education, nurturing, indoctrination, and that's how you are able to take them from where they're at today to where you want them to go, okay? So right here, we're gonna go from a book, again, this is what we do with my agents and advisors. We're gonna go from a book to a strategy session. Same thing over here. When we offer that next value-based offer, we're gonna say, hey, if you're ready, Mr. Prospect and Mrs. Prospect, go ahead and grab a time on my calendar where we'll have a strategy session, right? And then we repeat this over and over and over again until we're finally able to convert that person into a paying client. Now, as we're going through here, one of the things that I will notice that agents and advisors tend to do is they tend to get worried about being too spammy. They tend to worry about being too salesy. They worry about annoying their prospects. I will let you know right now that if you are not actively providing information and nurturing your prospects, somebody else is. If you are not setting yourself up as the subject matter expert, you are opening the door for somebody else to come in and provide education. I'll give you a really quick example of that. One of our advisors, his name is Eagle Star, was able to write a life insurance policy in IUL for $50,000 in annual premium. Now, what was extremely interesting about that case specifically is the prospect reached back out to Eagle Star and said, hey, thank you for providing this information. Eagle Star followed this process right here. He offered a book, multiple value-based offers, and the prospect said, hey, because of the book that you gave me, because of the multiple books that you gave me, because Eagle Star sent more than one, she said that she had had multiple financial advisors try to explain why she needed life insurance inside of her retirement plan, but it never made sense until Eagle Star was able to provide enough value and able to educate her enough to get her to finally cross the finish line. So that's what I'm saying. Think about all those other agents and advisors who had tried to work with that client. Was she unqualified because she didn't move forward? No, right? She just wasn't ready. It was the nurturing process that had to take place before she was ready to go to the next step. So going back to our funnel, we've talked about how to attract people, and to some degree, we're going to cover that more in a second. We're talking about the nurturing process of being able to send out emails and value-based offers. We talked about being able to get to those conversion points by offering discovery calls, strategy sessions, whatever that might be. Now, let's talk about that traffic source. How are we going to attract the right folks into our funnels, our landing pages, our email sequences, our nurturing sequences? How are we going to attract them? Now, what I want you to do right now is take a step back and think about who is your ideal client? Who is that prospect, or who is that person where if you woke up one day and you saw that you had back-to-back meetings with this specific type of person, who would that be? Is it a business owner? Is it a doctor? Is it a dentist? Is it a contractor? Is it a blue collar worker? Is it an iron worker? Is it, you tell me, who is that person? Now, think about where that person is today. Where are they at on a daily basis? And where you can go and meet them there. Now, in today's digital world, social media is a great place to start. Direct mail can work. I have heard that people use it effectively. But for me, being able to use social media to get in front of the right people, to be able to digitally meet them where they're at, is a great starting point. Now, take it a step further. Again, keep picturing that person in your mind. What social media platform are they on? Again, for my agents and advisors, we're looking for business owners. We're looking for successful professionals, which leads to high net worth individuals. If we're going after successful business owners, higher income earning successful professionals, we will go into the higher net worth market. Now, for those types of prospects and potential clients specifically, a great place to start is LinkedIn. One of the things that made me fall in love with LinkedIn is that you can use it to build real relationships with real people on a platform that is designed for business purposes. People are getting pre-framed for that business experience that they're about to have, where you're reaching out with concepts and strategies and solutions that are going to help further their financial lives. So for me, for my ideal clients are the agents and advisors and entrepreneurs and business owners that I'm going to work with, LinkedIn is where they go. Now, that may not be the right fit for you. You might want to take a look at Facebook ads. You might be willing to give Mark Zuckerberg some money, and hopefully he spits you back some clients, in exchange, right? May or may not happen, but for me, LinkedIn organically without needing to spend $1 on ads is the place to go. Now from there, we're going to develop a strategy to connect, post, and message in a way that attracts our ideal clients to us, so that we can then position those value-based offers to get them off of LinkedIn and into our sales funnel. So hopefully that makes sense. Whatever questions you have, whatever questions are coming up right now, please let me know. Happy to help out however I can, and I will talk to you guys soon.
TrainedAdvisor.com